Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I am with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly I'm bright and breezy because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day.
Hi. Today we're going to get to know one of our residents, Emily Zecchino. Actually, her real name is Amelia, but she is very definitely an American and chose to be called Emily. In fact, Emily wrote a book. It's called Only in America, and it's memories of faith, inspiration, love, and business. And she's an authority on all of them. Emily was born in Bari, in Italy, and that's, if you can envision the map of Italy, that's kind of in the boot. She lived in Ethiopia in a concentration camp, and she came to America as a GI war bride in 1947. She has lived on 3 continents, and America is her home. Her book is dedicated to America. Of course, she has strong ties to Italy, and she's going to tell you about her childhood in Bari and about living in Ethiopia. And then we'll talk to her about food, which is one of her big loves and one of her big successes. And here's Emily.
Hello. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Talk to us about your childhood in Bari and then going to Rome, and then when you had to go into Ethiopia.
Okay. Well, I was born in Bari. Now, Bari is a very unique city. It is made in 2 parts. It has the old city and the new city. I was born in the old city with my grandma, in my grandma's home, because in those days my father was out of job. It was the Depression in Europe, and that's where my beginning, right there in the old city of Bari. So because it was so difficult for Dad to find jobs there, he had to move. He went to Rome, where he was given a job from his brother, and we moved to Rome. And there they had another baby. My brother was born there. His name was Andy. And in Bari, my other brother, Peter, was born. So there were 3 of us in Rome, and we were there about 4 years. It was a beautiful city. A lot of things happened there. But then, again, he lost the job, and we moved to Trieste. Now, Trieste is in upstate Italy. It's a beautiful city on the Adriatic, and we were just a few miles south of it, or west of it. And my father was the station master. So where the train used to come from Venice, go to Trieste. And we were living right there. The city was up on a hill, Santa Croce. So while we were there, we had a beautiful time. And I tell all about it in my book there, how different it was. As a matter of fact, we went to see where they were making wine, because they grew a lot of grapes in those regions.
Wine
And
country.
it was like watching one of the episodes of Lucy, where she's pushing her feet in a barrel.
And you talk about that,
saw.
and they had their feet in the grapes.
Right.
Yes, you talk about it in your book. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was very funny. So then he lost that job again, and they were back in Bari. So by then, Mussolini had ideas of going to Ethiopia. So that there was a war going there, so my father decided to volunteer in the army so he could feed his family. And so he left, went to Ethiopia, and while he was there, about when they conquered the whole place, he settled in a town named Harar. And from there he decided to call the whole family because they could do that. And we were envisioning there a very prosperous future, which it was for almost 5 years. When we got there, it took us about 15 days to get there. My mother was pregnant, 9 months pregnant, and she took such a big chance to take that risk. She could have, my sister could have been born any minute on a ship. But thank God we arrived there, and in a home. We're supposed to be at home, which it's horrible. My book tells you just what it was. And my sister was born just 2 days later. It was a miracle.
Timing is
really.
everything, yes.
It was beautiful. So slowly we got accustomed to the place. This city, Harar, is called, had a wall all around it. My father used to call it the magic city because it had a long history, even in the Bible, that
Harar.
yeah, it had a history all the way through the Bible. And we had a wonderful time. The people there were very gorgeous. We're very happy. We got along beautiful. And until another big storm came along, and that was World War II. Before long, there we were in the middle of a big turnaround. The British and the South Africans came over. They were nice, but it was war. It was wartime.
War is never
So
nice.
my father was sent away with all the troops. All the other troops went away. My father was taken prisoner, and so were we, in a sense. We were taken and put in concentration camps, waiting to be. We thought they're going to send us back in Italy sooner or later, and sure enough, it did. After about 6 months in concentration camp, where the facilities are just impossible to describe, finally, we were able to get back to Italy, and it was a special with the International Red Cross. It was a joint
relief effort
yeah.
kind of thing, yes.
It is a picture of my dad and my father in Ethiopia. And this is one of the white boats in which they repatriated us back to Italy. A journey that took us 40 days in water, all around the Cape of Good Hope, and all the way through the Strait of Gibraltar and to Naples.
And with the new baby.
Mm-hmm. My sister was about 4 years old by then. Yeah. And on the boats, we were crammed like sardines. And in Mogadishu, where we sailed from, it was 110, 120 degrees.
Now that's Somalia.
That's in Somalia,
next to Ethiopia. Yeah.
They took us from Ethiopia to Somalia, the British. And well, when we got on a boat, it was so hot. But finally, we had a meal. We had something to eat finally, after months of having just soup and a little pasta. That's all we had for 6 months.
But you got back to Bari.
No, not yet. We, we went 40 days to Gibraltar and then to Naples.
Yeah, and then up
And
to,
then back in Bari.
and
Now,
then,
my mother was there, came back with 4 children, no husband, no money, and just that little suitcase of clothes for each of us. That's it.
you're gonna learn a little more about that, I'm not going to call it a cruise, that trip, that trek, because the day that this is on Channel 89, our very gracious guest, Emily, has offered complimentary copies of her book to anyone who goes into the lobby to get them after the show has played on Channel 89. So if you will check your daily newspaper, what are we calling it? Highlights?
Yeah.
Highlights
program
that comes
highlights.
with your breakfast. Find out, is that show going to be on today? Getting to Know You with Emily Zecchino? Good. Then I also get a free book. So you will learn more about that trip. And now we're going to fast forward through the war, and you met an American soldier.
Right. And with that, I had the honor of coming to America with the title of GI War Bride, which now we're celebrating the 75th anniversary.
Right.
So that was some chance that I had to take coming in the country when I was only 19 years old, not knowing the language, and with a man that was almost stranger to me. But I had, we were in love.
Richie,
So
what's
love,
his name?
Richie, my husband. We were in love. You're in love, you just don't think.
And when you're young, you don't think. You do.
But we did think, in a way, without a roundabout way. So when I came here, what happened? My husband decided he was good at in food. He had been in business before in a grocery store. So I decided to open a grocery store.
In Flushing.
In Flushing, yes. Flushing. That's in Queens. Well, here I am, 6 months after I arrived here, knowing very few words of English. I find myself behind the counter slicing boar's head ham,
Don't we
provolone.
have a picture of
And here
the
is a
grocery
picture.
store? Yes.
Of me doing that, which was very interesting. However, the best part about that was the fact that here is my husband with his loaf of bread. He loved to have that was in the front of the building. And the best part about that was when I came, life was so different there. I was welcomed by everyone. And I mean, the English people, the Germans, there were German, there were lots of Jewish people around here in the neighborhood, Italian, black, a lot of black people, and we all loved each other.
That's
we got
America.
along.
Yeah.
I made so many friends, and in a short time, I began to learn English. They all helped me to learn the language. And slowly I managed to learn more and more every day. I never went to school, so that you wonder how I managed to write a book. Well, the way, when you sit down on your computer and you think, and well, the words just come about.
And you
then
have
I had a
run
very-
successful businesses.
Yes,
You had 3 children.
right.
You managed to learn quite a bit. Emily.
Yeah, well, what happened 25 years later, my husband passed away, unfortunately, after having 3 children. So I had to make a decision whether stay in New York, which was very cold. I didn't like it, but I loved Florida. So I decided to move here in Hollywood, and my brother came over also, and we decided to go in business. And here again, we bought Pop's Pizza from
Which-
Louis Dono.
I have to interrupt because my children thought that's how they told the days of the week. Saturday night was Pop's Pizza. I did not know Emily,
No, that.
but I picked up a pizza every Saturday night. So we met after you first came in, and she said, "Do you know Pop's Pizza?" And I kind of yelled, "Do I know Pop's?" And as soon as you were picked up and I got in the car, I called each of the boys to say, "I just met the lady from Pop's."
Yeah.
So yes, I know Pop's Pizza, and what it became later.
Trevi's
Trevi's Restaurant, yes,
It became-
absolutely, because I've lived in that
Yeah.
area forever, yes.
But
Do you have
then-
pictures of the pizza place?
No,
No, you don't.
No, I
You have,
don't.
we fast forward.
no.
But
No.
your life has also, as most lives, you had ups and you had downs.
Oh, definitely.
And you lost your dad and your husband at about the same,
So, 3 weeks difference.
Yeah.
3 weeks apart.
and one of your children was ill,
Yeah, very ill.
and you kept it all together.
Yes, well, the other one left us. One of my sons left us for several years. My other son got sick, and I had to fend for myself to survive. And unfortunately, our Pop's Pizza and Trevi's Restaurant didn't last that long. My brother, we had different ideas on how to run a business. Finally, he gave up, he left me and went away. And here I was alone, and somebody suggested, because I used to love to entertain, you know, and do pretty things, others like that at home. So they suggested, why don't you go in catering? And sure enough, I tried that. And before you know, from a catering business, it became a manufacturing of frozen food, hors d'oeuvres, and entrees. And we served all over the United States.
But tell them, explain to them that you went to the Small Business
Yes,
Administration.
the reason why it happened, that my business, that it started with $1,000 investment, it became $1 million business. It's because in between, when I needed help, the banks only loan you if you have a ready money. So I couldn't get any money from the bank, but the SBA, which it happens only in America, they gave me two loans, one for $250,000 and the other one for $290,000. With that, I was supposed to keep, managed to grow the business. And it grew and it grew, the business grew. From 3 employees at the beginning, I had 150 on my payroll steady. During peak time, we were going as many as 200 employees. And Cisco and Cheney Brothers, two of the big distributors here, they picked up my products and they were sold all over the United States. Actually, even on the plane, Air Force One, Hillary Clinton loved my hors d'oeuvres. She used to love the scallops in bacon, wrapped in bacon. And I got a picture that was sent to me from there, but I don't have here that picture.
There's the
There is the product,
the
yeah.
scallops wrapped in bacon.
Bacon, yes.
Mm-mm-mm.
And during the years, I received first, this one is the small business, what is that called?
Miami Herald.
Yeah,
The pace setters.
Pacesetter Award.
And the Small Business Person of the Year in
That was-
1999.
In 1999, I had this Small Business of the Year award, for the South Florida district. And this one, where I treasured a lot, is breaking the glass ceiling award from the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, and that's Sylvia Sachs. She has the
Sylvia Berman.
travel,
Yeah.
Berman.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is one of our, that's my daughter that came to work with me, and she became my partner also. Thank God I had her, because that's what I needed. And the business, here are some of the people that
And this is
work
a
with me.
typical,
Yeah.
check
And
out
then
the
in
hairnets.
2006, I was blessed that this, the Schwann Food Company, this is David Schwann, the picture of David Schwann. It's a $4 billion company. They bought me out, thank God, and I was able.
And that was 2006?
2006, I was 78 years young when I retired.
And this is the lady who says, I didn't go to school.
No.
But you went to school, honey.
Yeah.
You could school
School
all
of
of us.
nuts.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
the worst.
I'm delighted to have
But you know,
gotten to know
I
you.
also have to admit I had good help. You know, you cannot do everything alone.
Of course
You
not.
need help. And I was blessed by having people that were very loyal to me. And I always treated them like family, because that's what we really were. You know, we were family. I used to tell them, you know, you think you're working for me and I am your boss, but we are all working for someone else, our Creator in heaven. So we're all children, same children. And
I love the story about the call you got from the Diplomat
yes,
asking for 2,000 pieces.
of crab meat wontons. Yeah.
Yes.
God bless the
And-
wontons. They brought me where they.
Early in the week and needed it by Friday.
Yeah.
And her initial reaction was,
No,
of course not.
I can't do that.
But you
But-
got, how long did it take you to get those 2,000 pieces
It
together?
took me, it was ready by the time they wanted it, 3 days, they were ready. But somehow, the little voice inside tells you,
I
why
think
not?
I can, I
You know?
think I can.
You know, you think, well, why not? So I just heard myself saying, okay, I'll try. And then I was sorry. However, I managed to pull it off,
And,
and
it,
that was the beginning.
and that was the Diplomat Hotel,
Oh, yeah.
which back in the day held very, very posh parties. They would have big-time stars entertaining, and oddly enough, when I was at the newspaper, I used to cover the entertainment side and go to the parties, and I probably ate those things that you
Yes,
prepared and
definitely.
loved them, gained weight in the process, but I loved them, not knowing you.
Yeah.
But how our lives kind of paralleled 40 years ago, 30
Yeah.
some years ago.
Yeah.
And those parties were spectacular. And there were many to which I wasn't invited, which were at a very high scale. The owners of the Diplomat did things on a big scale.
Yeah.
And when I read that story, but the man to whom you talked even told you how to package them, didn't
Yes.
he?
Sure,
That's
I
the
didn't know. I
kind
had
of
no
help-
idea.
Yeah, how do you
That's-
package 2,000 appetizers to go from downtown Hollywood over almost to Hallandale Beach Boulevard? Very carefully, I would imagine.
Yes. Oh, sure. I had to bring him over. And, well, they loved them. And thank God they started ordering more and then more. And then eventually Steve Bruno
Yes,
came to
I couldn't
work
think
for
of the
me.
name, right. That's the name she talked about.
Yeah.
So it was, she, I think because of your personality and your warmth and your abilities, of course, everything fell into place while
Yeah.
you were having personal
Yes.
tragedies.
Yeah.
And isn't that what life
Well,
is, that mix?
As I believe God gave us certain gifts. Each one of us has a gift. He put me in that situation because I had to do those things there. So I can take credit for it, but really it's up to all of us sometimes, to be quiet and listen to that little voice inside. What am I going to do next? Especially today, the way things are, you know, let's be together and hope that everything will be good for everyone because we're all the same. We all have the same need.
Yeah,
We
we
all
do.
have the same needs, no matter what color you are.
Most definitely, we all do.
And we all need respect for each other. That's it's important, is respect for each other.
And we have to respect ourselves first.
Yes,
And you do.
yes.
And
I'm
good
happy in
reason.
my skin.
Yeah. And that shows. Let's kind of wind up. What's your favorite appetizer that you had on offer? There has to be
Well,
one
I'll
you
tell
love.
you what it is. It's the mini beef Wellington.
Not
Because
bad.
I happened to make it a little different than what usually was made one day, and I tried to make a nerve dart out of it, and that has become my trademark. All the Marriotts.
Would
they
you
used
say
to-
that's your best seller?
That was one of my best. Yeah, and the next one was Appetizers. They're the Grecians.
Oh, yeah.
Were,
Yeah, everybody
And-
loves that.
after that, I would say, well, Frank's in a Blanket, everybody knows
But
them.
how about the dates
Yeah, but
and
special
bacon?
yeah.
Yeah.
Scallops baked, wrapped in bacon that Hillary
Is it
Clinton
lunchtime
liked
yet?
them.
Yes.
And then almond filled with dates and wrapped in bacon. Those are delicious. Now, I don't know what's going on with with holiday foods, whether it's still here. But they still sell the same things. They're
Fantastic.
still, I mean, it's difficult to express what happened. I don't think the Schwan company owns it anymore
They probably
because
sold
things
it
are
to.
changing
everyone.
rapidly.
But
It's
you
a
did.
shame.
You sold the company.
Yes.
You were very impressive. You talk about numbers in the book, which I'm not going to go. If somebody wants to buy the book, not buy, get the book complimentarily.
Oh, yes. It's
They
free.
will find out. But I think you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask you one last question. You obviously love good food, and you love good dining. If you were going to invite 3 people, living or dead, to have dinner with you, and maybe you would fix the appetizers, but if you don't have to, maybe somebody else will, who would you ask?
Well, one would be Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah
I
Winfrey,
would love
good
to have
answer.
dinner with
Yeah.
her because she seems to be a wonderful
Yes.
in many ways.
Yes.
Another one would be President Bush, the last one, his wife.
And Laura.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I would like to have her for dinner. As a man, I don't know, I guess the pastor, what is that pastor there now? I can't remember his name.
Joel Osteen? No.
No. The one that wrote that book there, the famous book.
Billy Graham.
I should have wrote
Franklin,
it down.
Billy Graham?
No, Billy Graham, the first Billy Graham, I would have liked to have dinner with him, but he does not there any longer. My goodness.
Well, I think
That's
you
what
came up
happened.
with 4 because we have George and Laura and Oprah and Emily,
And, okay.
and have a
Yeah.
wonderful dinner.
Oh,
And you
yes.
picked
I
people who
would
are
love
still
to.
alive. How about that?
Yes,
Usually people
I
don't.
love it.
Thank you so much, Emily. I appreciate it. And remember, everyone, watch for word on when this will air, and that day you will also get a copy of Only in America.
Thank you.
It's a good read, and she's a good lady and a good neighbor.
Thank you. My pleasure and my honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, it's the craziest thing. I'm not quite sure how this thing developed, but it's fun.
And you know what? One time, what happened? The SBA, they brought a group from Russia, business people, to visit my place. They came to me. They came to Publix. They went to Publix, the main warehouse in Florida, and they took them to the over here, another place where they make telephones and all that. What is that name here?
Oh, AT&T, American Express,
No.
up in
The-
Plantation,
in the Sunrise.
in Sunrise, yeah.
What is, there is a name there. No, it's a big manufacturing place of things. And they brought this group from Russia, men and women, business people, and they were amazed to see the way we were doing business. And those ladies from there, they liked us so much. I received Christmas cards from them after many years. They were so appreciative. They couldn't believe it, that things were done in America, you know.
Well,
And I was telling them I got it from the government. If it wasn't from the SBA, I couldn't
Yeah.
have been here.
but you see, she knew to go, and she listened to bankers and people who were advising her, and that's what, by listening,
Oh, sure,
look what
that's
you
how you
gained.
learn.
You learn so
I
much.
still have lots to learn. I'm glad.
Well, keep
I'm
going.
glad that I do. The only thing, when I learn something now, I forget it after. That's terrible.
Do you do any cooking? Well, you told me you
Yes,
make,
I do.
you make sauce.
Sure, I make sauce, I make lentil soup, I make chicken soup. But lentil soup was delicious the other day. And of course, my ragu, my gravy,
Yeah, the
bolognese, my
gravy,
bolognese
yeah.
sauce.
Yeah,
That's made with.
it's I thought it was a great story, and I really appreciate you doing
Thank you. I appreciate your. My daughter, when she heard, oh, Mom, that's terrific. She, by the way, this is on tape.
Mm-hmm.
Can we have any extra tape?
Oh, yes, yeah,
Yes.
I'll make a copy of it
Can
for
you?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes, yeah,
I
I'll
still
make
am waiting for a
I'm
copy of
willing to
David's.
pay for more than one if
Okay.
possible.
I make them at home,
You
and so,
do?
yeah, I'm fine.
Oh,
I can make several.
good.
Good.
I need at least two.
Okay, I will be happy to get those.
My daughter, then she can show them for you.
Yeah.
No,
And mine, you know.
It's such an easy concept,
Mhm.
and you know, I'll never forget. We sat in the lobby, and she said, "Pop's pizza."
I want to tell you one more story,
Mhm.
because that's very. When I came here in America, right, I met the first lady that I met was Ruth Berger. She was the owner of the grocery store there.
She owned the building.
So we went, my husband took me there to her home to get the lease signed up and all that. So here she is with her 2 children. And I don't know, I didn't know how to speak English at the time, and she was so funny. She was trying to speak Italian, say some words in Italian. I was trying to say words in English. Well, we became very good friends. I would say no good friends. We were family.
Sisters.
It so happened that when I moved to Florida, and she was still in New York, I needed money to buy a refrigerator for holiday foods. When I first started to get orders from the Diplomat, I needed bigger refrigerator. So I couldn't ask my family. Nobody had money in my family. But Ruth, she was a businesswoman. I knew she had. So I asked Ruth, can you please, I need $2,000. Oh, she said, of course, I understand. Said, do well. She said, she was like a sister to me. So when I got a couple of days later, I got a letter. And in the letter, she sent me a check for $4,000. Can you imagine that?
Isn't that a hell of a story?
I mean,
it's in the book.
That is unbelievable.
Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I am with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly I'm bright and breezy because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day.